Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fan Frenzy podcast. I'm your host, Chris Borsha, alongside co-host Ben Lotman, Gabe Layden. This is our NFL draft show. We got a full entire first round mock draft between each of us going across the sheet. We'll be making some trades. We're gonna make our picks. We're gonna give reasonings as to why these prospects are good. It's been a long time that we've been talking about this draft because tune in to iHeartRadio at WHIP Radio this Thursday to listen to me and Ben talk during the NFL draft. I have picked 16 through 18. What picks do you have, Ben?
10 through 13, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, and that's for day one and day two. So definitely tune into that because we will be doing the second round and third round also. But let's get into it. Who has the first pick?
That would be me.
Uh,
Let's start it off. Right off the bat, my message to the Chicago Bears: do not overthink this. Right, it's right in front of you.
You should overthink this because this guy is a horrible attitude.
Listen, you're taking
Big
the Oklahoma transfer, and South Carolina graduate or South Carolina player Spencer Rattler #1. Let's go. And they're going Caleb Williams #1, no question about it. Don't overthink it if you're Chicago.
Big ego. You gotta watch. This is the same guy who was saying, "Yeah, before I even go to a team, I want ownership in that team." What do you mean you want ownership? You haven't even played for the team yet.
Listen, I don't even mind it, to be honest with you. Like, if you're gonna be able to get ownership, why not? Like, I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah,
That's unreal. That's unreal.
Caleb Williams,
Bro,
is
you
the
are
best
not LeBron. You
draft
are
prospect.
you are not gonna be a top 10 player in football history. Don't act like it now. Okay?
I mean,
let's relax.
Just in case.
Let's relax.
For me, Caleb Williams is the best quarterback draft prospect since Andrew Luck. I think Andrew Luck was slightly better coming into the draft, but Caleb Williams is so athletic. He makes things happen with his legs and out of the pocket. And I think, this Bears team is setting him up really well, bringing in guys like Keenan Allen. They have a strong offensive line. So I think whatever quarterback, which is probably going to be Caleb Williams, goes to Chicago is going to have a lot of success and probably win Rookie of the Year. So, yeah, I think that's a really good pick for Chicago. But moving on here to Washington, Chris, I think I know who you're going to pick.
You do know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to take the best quarterback in this draft. This guy will be the best quarterback in this draft. He fits the scheme perfectly. He works very well. He will work very well alongside Cliff Kingsbury. This is the quarterback of their future. And it sucks because as an Eagles fan, I do not want this guy in my division. They're going to pick Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels is a stud. He's a stud. There's just no way around it. There's no way you don't pick this guy.
So
there's a little bit of there's something going on there, though. There's something to be considered with Drake May at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, if you haven't been following, Jayden Daniels had a really interesting visit with Washington. Apparently, there is like an argument or a fight during his visit. They apparently had a top 30 visit at Topgolf, which was very interesting to hear about. But I think they're going to go Drake May at 2. But I personally like Jayden Daniels better. Now, do I think Washington's going to go Jayden Daniels? I don't think so. Is it possible? Yes. It's kind of a toss-up here. I think the general consensus is they're going to go Drake May. But I do see a possibility where they go Jayden Daniels. But with that being said, Patriots here at 3. I'm calling the New York Giants. Hey, New York, do you guys want to trade up and get your quarterback, Drake May, at 3? I'm just calling to gauge some interest here. You have any interest?
As the New York Giants, I've been seeing a lot of reports recently. I think they would have some interest, but only for the right price. I think they recognize that they have a lot of options at 6 here. And I mean, obviously that widens if you go up to 3, because if you realize, hey, maybe it's not Drake May, maybe we go Marvin Harrison. They do have the option there, though. If they're trading up, it would, almost definitely be for a quarterback. But I think at the very least we pick up the phone. Not sure if a deal gets done, though.
All right, so no trade here, no trade. The Patriots are gonna do what I think the Patriots should trade down here. Personally, if I was the Patriots, I would trade down, which is why I called the Giants. But we didn't come to an agreement in time, and therefore the Patriots have to go with Drake May, quarterback out of
It's a
North
good pick.
Carolina.
Why do
It's a
you
good
why do you
pick.
want them trading down? Why do you? I feel like their
I
quarterback
think that
situation is
I think
disastrous.
their quarterback situation is disastrous, but so is the rest of their roster. I think it's a path to failure for whatever quarterback goes to New England, especially if it's Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels it needs some more development. Drake May comes in better as a better pro right away. I think Jaden Daniels has a higher ceiling, but Drake May better pro right away. But at the same time, you've seen it before where guys get taken in the top 5 of the draft, don't go into a good situation and end up failing. I mean, look at the Jets; they've done it twice in the last decade. So
That's a
you
good
know,
point.
it's I don't know about that pick for the Patriots. The player is okay. I'm not a huge Drake May guy. But he's a really solid quarterback prospect. I don't think the fit is all there, and I don't know how successful he's going to be in that situation. But I also have the Arizona pick. I think this is a really simple pick. I don't need to talk about it that much. Marvin Harrison Jr., the best wide receiver in the draft. You
One
got
of
to
the
stick with
greatest
Kyler
wide
Murray.
receiver prospects we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I
No
mean,
hesitation.
up there, no hesitation. If I'm Arizona, they have a lot of. You could see them trading down. Maybe there's a lot of quarterbacks on the board, but I don't personally see it. I think that look, Arizona just needs that alpha in the wide receiver room to try and keep Kyler Murray happy and playing well. So, Marvin Harrison Jr., you're going to Arizona now. Now on to an interesting pick here.
Here's my fun pick.
I'm the Minnesota Vikings. I'm calling you up San Diego. I'm calling up San Diego as Minnesota here.
Done deal.
All right. So we have what I think most people have already seen is going to happen. It's going to be the Chargers trading with the Vikings. Where are they? The Chargers are going to give up 5. The Vikings are going to give up 11, 23, and 129. We'll see if they accept that. It's been rejected. Okay, maybe try it from the other way. We're gonna go for that. There we go. All right.
There it is.
So the Minnesota Vikings. I'm about to make my 3rd pick in a row here. I'm gonna go with wide receiver. No, I'm just kidding. They're trading up to get their quarterback. I think the Vikings have the best situation for a young quarterback to come into.
I agree.
I don't know. I feel like JJ McCarthy has some upside. Do I think he's anywhere near the top 3 quarterbacks? No. But quarterback is such a valued position in the league, and that's really all the Vikings need right now is a quarterback. And you saw when they traded for the Houston pick earlier in the offseason, I think everybody thought they're going to trade up and get JJ McCarthy, and that's their guy. So JJ McCarthy, you're heading to Minnesota to play with the best wide receiver in the league.
I don't know how I feel about this one, to be honest, because I don't know if it's because they look similar or something, but I feel like this has Zach Wilson written all over it. I think that he's one of those quarterbacks.
You're a
that,
hater.
Maybe call me a hater, but I think that he played well in the combine or whatever he did, and
I
now
want to
he's
see
flying
JJ
up.
McCarthy succeed for sure.
He was like a late 1st rounder, I think, a couple months ago, right? And now he's a top 5.
Now he's top 10.
Yeah,
I think almost definitely top 5. Almost, I would say.
The player here is questionable, but I think the fit is exceptional. I think he fits super well in that system. And at the same time, I mean, that offense, 2 great tackles, a great wide receiver core, running back, who knows what you're getting there. But offensively, this team is really, really built for a quarterback to be inserted in and succeed right away. So I like Minnesota going quarterback. Not a huge JJ McCarthy guy, as I said, but I think it's kind of locked in at this point. So moving on here,
Gabe,
your New York Giants are on the clock.
This is an easy pick for you here.
Very easy pick for us. I've seen some mock drafts go Odunze here. I just don't see it, though. I think that I see a lot of scouts saying that the gap between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers is a lot closer than it seems, and I'm hoping that's the case. I think it's got to be
Malik Nabers is a stud. He's
Absolute
a generational,
what happened
generational talent there.
And what happened the last time we took somebody from LSU that high, or more specifically, wide receiver from LSU that high, OBJ. So I'm hoping that we can get at least maybe not the same talent, but we can get somebody that can immediately impact the offense there.
There's a shot that Malik Neighbors could have a better career in New York than OBJ.
I think it's very possible.
It is, yeah.
Especially because
it sets itself up. I think so.
Because of that,
he has a much higher upside.
Because of the injuries that happened to OBJ throughout his career with the Giants is a big piece to that. This is a consensus pick here too, whoever has this pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going back to me. Again, I think I've seen a couple of mock drafts that's gone Rome or Brock Bowers, but I think it's got to be Joe Alt. I think you got to protect the QB here.
Yeah.
Consensus, he's the best offensive lineman in the draft.
Yeah.
And in some drafts, he would be the number 1 overall pick. In certain drafts, I just don't think the teams at the top have much bigger needs than offensive tackle. And I think if you're the Titans, this could arguably be the steal of the draft at 7. I think
him and Joel. Honestly, him and Peter Skoronski would be tough. They would be tough together.
Yeah, and look, I really like what this Titans team is doing. I think they had an excellent offseason.
I don't know. I question like the Calvin Ridley signing and stuff, but like the L'Jarius Sneed was a great move. Phenomenal move.
Yeah.
I question that though.
I think when you have that kind of money, you can risk it on a receiver like that because a quarterback's still on a rookie quarterback contract. So, I mean, next year, this is the start of
maybe a little overpaid though.
Yeah, Calvin. Yeah, I agree. Dude, this next pick, Chris, you have it.
This is
kind of the start. Is it the consensus though? I feel like this is the start of the draft because I personally had a different one than most people, but. This could be a trade down. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what you go with here.
We're going with a dog, an absolute dog. The first guy on the defensive side of the ball, taken off the board. We're taking Dallas Turner, Falcons. It's such an easy move for them. Who were you saying that you had differently that wasn't Dallas Turner?
I've personally seen this. Call me crazy, but I see. A team maybe trading up to get Romaduzzi ahead of the Bears. I think that's entirely possible. He's by far and away the best offensive player remaining outside of Brock Bowers, but Brock Bowers is kind of you kind of have to fit him, whereas Romaduzzi will fit any offense. But for me, Letal is the best edge rusher in this class.
Here's what I'll tell you, though. Even with passing up on a guy like Odunze, this receiver class is so stacked to where you could still get a good receiver in the second round. There's still Lab McConkey, Keon Coleman, A.D. Mitchell. There's a bunch of guys that you could still get within the second round that'll be playmakers for you. So they shouldn't be too worried about that. I think there's holes that you got to fix on your defense that are more important, especially one of them getting to the quarterback before you worry about getting more receivers. Obviously, I think Drake London has to take a big step this year. Same with Kyle Pitts. So it's now, new quarterback, new coach. I really like Raheem Morris with the Falcons. He's a phenomenal coach. This dude is so underrated for what he did last year. I'm so serious. He's so underrated for a head coach.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be perfectly fit, Dallas Turner, within that defense. You saw what he did with the defense last year for the Rams. So I expect a lot from Dallas Turner and Raheem Morris.
Yeah, I think look, you look at the Falcons and they don't really have a lot of needs, right? So I feel like they kind of can go best player available. So that's why I feel like they lean edge, but at the same time I can also see them trading down and getting some more value for the pick. So that's a very interesting pick, I feel like. But for our mock draft purposes, Dallas Turner is a pretty solid pick for them. But moving on here, Chicago, Gabe, this is your pick.
So actually going off of what Chris said, it fits in perfectly because I think they realize that potentially there is a lot more receiver depth in this draft than other people realize or other people think. And there's two teams there at 12 and 13 that both desperately need a quarterback and are in that market. And I think Vegas comes calling. And they really want that 9 spot because they don't want the Broncos taking their guy. What do you guys think about them?
I honestly have not seen anybody mock that, but I think it's a good idea. Because I feel like everybody just thinks, oh, he's going to fall to the Broncos. But
I've actually
you're trading up here?
I'm gonna try if I'm the Raiders, I'm gonna try at least see what they do. But I
All
mean,
right.
I've seen it in one or two mocks, and I think there's like a low key fight for Michael Penix Jr. there, because I mean, you don't want to take him too high, but I think it kind of falls off
Oh,
after
What do you
Penix.
what do you
Interesting.
give up if you're the Raiders? 13,
So you're going up 13, and what would you try to give up for that? I don't know.
77,
Probably
77.
77 and 112, or probably 77 and a next year third. I would say is for 4 spots. I feel like that's kind of
Really, I
fair.
think a next year fourth and not a next year third.
Okay, we can try that. Let's see if they
Let's
accept
see.
this. No, they did not accept it. We'll try again. We'll try. The Raiders are offering, not Denver.
I think they might be a
Not
little
Denver.
desperate anyway, so I think maybe it's realistic if they go up a little too much, or maybe not too much, but they give up a lot.
Okay.
Oh, they're still rejecting. They really want.
All right. The Raiders. We're gonna switch this up here. We're gonna go Chicago.
They're
Because
not
usually,
having it today.
In the case,
Usually,
in the case that this doesn't go through, they can't get a deal done. I mean, if you're the Bears, then you just took your QB
Wow.
at number 1.
the
I think
deal's
number 9
the deal's not.
the deal's not going through, and I think
right,
that's
well,
fine for the Bears.
Here's my question to you, right?
Yeah.
If the deal is not getting done, and this is what I had in my personal mock draft, which, by the way, for everyone watching this episode, if you go to our website, it's in my Instagram bio and all. I'm going to try and find a way to put it in the YouTube bio too. I'm posting an article with my entire first round mock draft. I predicted, right, because of the whole thing with the hip drop tackle gone, it's going to become such an offensive game. Why not you just take Odunze? Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Odunze. Keenan Allen's getting up there in age anyway, so once he's done, you just slide Odunze right in.
And that's exactly what
Yeah.
I have. I think that you got your QB
Bro,
at number 1, obviously.
Could you imagine,
give him
though,
some
that
weapons.
they're about to run a offense of Caleb Williams, right, alongside Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, Odunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore?
I just know Chris is going to be
Yes.
foaming at the mouth if Caleb Williams doesn't perform in week 1.
I'm going to love it. Hey, it's my
All right.
pick.
Big,
You know-
an interesting pick here because
No.
I've seen two different ways. I've seen them either
No.
go tackle or go Brock Bowers. I'm interested to see what you pick. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to lean towards the skill position, but we'll see.
If you were a Jets fan this past season, you cried your eyes out. You had a rough time besides when you beat the Eagles, which I saw coming because it said that like we beat them every single time we've played them. And I knew, I was like, yeah, that's bound to break this year. For some reason, I was like, I know that's coming. But if you're a Jets fan, you know, you were hurt inside, especially on game 1, play 4. Your fourth play of the entire game, you were hurting. You were in pain. You were like, there's no way that this dude just tore. It was Achilles, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I believe so.
He tore his Achilles the fourth play of the entire game. You know how awful that is? The first game of the season. What is your biggest position of need at that point? People to protect your quarterback. No hesitation, Fashanu. No hesitation whatsoever.
Interesting. Because they did bring in Tyron Smith, right? So
Yes,
have
but
him,
you
but he's
bolster it.
injury prone.
You bolster it with him and some other guys. Because keep in mind, I don't believe he signed with anyone at all yet, but Mekhi Becton. Remember, they drafted him really high, like, what was it, 2-3 years ago, and he did not pan out well at all. Fashanu's different than that, though. Fashanu, I can't believe he's fell a little bit, his stock. He was supposed to go top 5, and then Joe Alt's stock went up crazy. But I think there's no hesitation there. Fashanu's great. Freak athlete, insanely fast, great agility. He's very versatile.
I agree. Fashanu is definitely the highest ceiling tackle, in my opinion. I think Joe Alt has the highest floor. But looking at it, Chargers here at 11, that's also Chris, but I do see a possible trade down, and I do have the Denver Broncos. So I'm gonna make a call here. Do the Chargers want to trade down again to Denver? Because I want to trade up and make sure I get my quarterback. If I'm
But see, that doesn't make sense because why would the Chargers take a quarterback?
No, the Chargers aren't, but they want to. The Broncos are trading up to make sure the Raiders don't trade up. It's a fight between the Raiders and the Broncos because they both want a quarterback.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna decline both of you guys, and I'm just gonna take Brock Bowers.
I think
I
this is
need
really.
I need to give Justin Herbert somebody to throw to. Since I guess we decided to get rid of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and the entire whole hole that we have, and
Yeah,
we got Quentin Johnston as our one. Are you kidding me? That's horrible. He had a horrible rookie year. He needs somebody to throw to, and this really reminds me of the Mahomes Travis Kelce connection.
yeah, yeah. And
Take
look, I
my
mean,
bias aside though, for me being a Georgia fan. Throw that aside.
yeah. And shout out to the Chargers, by the way, picking up their number one position of need in a skill like a receiver Brock Bowers is basically a receiver and an extra first round pick to
And
trade
guess
down. I
what?
think
The
that would be
Broncos. There you go. You still get your quarterback.
yeah. And the
You don't have to.
Broncos
You don't have to
here
move.
in Denver make the pick that I feel like everybody wants them to make, except for the fact that I think they're going to now trade down.
Breaking
No, just
news
kidding.
for
They're not going to trade
anyone
down.
who
Really?
doesn't know, they
Just
also
kidding.
just got Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. They're taking Bo Nix. Kind of. I feel like a lock at this point. I think Michael. I feel like the NFL isn't going to like Michael Penix Jr.
Hold
as much as they
on.
like Bo Nix.
Hold on.
I think Bo Nix is way higher
That's a
rated.
high pick, dude.
Me too. I'm
It is.
confused with that one.
Penix
It
Jr. I
is.
would take over Bo Nix. That's a high pick.
I think, look, for NFL upside, I think Bo Nix has a higher upside, and I think that the Broncos are going to fall more in love with Bo Nix. I think this is more of a Broncos pick because they have to have a quarterback. There's no chance the Broncos aren't drafting a quarterback in the first round.
Well,
And I
that's
just don't think
obvious.
with Michael,
They have Sean Payton. Sean Payton's not going to allow that, but like at the same
yeah,
time, I
and
think
I
he
think
would pick
Sean
Penix over
Payton
Bo
is the
Nix.
reason I think they take Bo Nix. I don't think Sean Payton likes a guy like Michael Penix Jr. I think he likes a guy that can fit his system, and I think Bo Nix can fit his system better than Michael Penix Jr. Now, is Michael Penix Jr. better than Bo Nix? That's arguable. I think they're pretty much the same level of quarterback, and it's just going to be which guy they like better. And I think, Bo Nix there. But
This is
now it's to the
interesting.
Raiders. Now it's to the
Yeah,
Raiders, and
and
my
on the Raiders,
Philadelphia
I'm
Eagles are
jumping up
making
and
a
down
call.
right now.
Take Michael
Oh,
Penix
are you?
Jr. Take
I'm jumping up and
Michael
down right
Penix
now.
Jr. There's no.
We
no
just try to
question.
trade up. We just try to trade up to the 9 spot in order to try to get Michael Penix. But not only did we save our pick or save our draft picks that we were going to go up in addition to that, but we just stayed put and we're going to get Michael Penix anyway. So there we go.
Or
I like that.
okay,
pick.
I mean they're taking Penix. The Eagles are calling up every single one of these teams right now. By the way, just so you know, to trade up.
I
And
have
here's
the
the
Saints
Saints.
pick, and this is an interesting one to me.
This is a pretty easy pick for me. I feel like.
This is interesting. I really like what they got going on at the moment, like youth wise, and I
Yeah.
think they need to get younger. And I feel like you have Olave, you got Marshawn Lattimore, and I think in those two positions, as in receiver and corner, I think you need to bolster them more. I think you need help in your secondary. I think you need help on your receivers. I think I'm going to take Terry and Arnold here.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's unfortunate because that's
first
the
corner off the
guy.
board.
That's the guy that I really wanted to go to the Eagles, especially beginning of the year. Like once the season ended, I was like, it's all right, Terry and Arnold coming. But I think him and Marshawn Lattimore is going to be a really nice duo. Terry and Arnold's going
Yeah.
to be a stud.
I like that pick. I also think watch out for them taking a tackle at that spot. I think Armarius Mims is moving up a lot of people's boards, and Fuaga is also another guy that there's a chance they take him. I think the Saints need another tackle. Their left tackle is currently having some injury issues and might not be ready for the start of the season. So could be an interesting pick there. But now I
That's
am the Colts.
interesting because I'm not the biggest Amarius Mims guy either, and I like Georgia. He's not bad, but
Yeah. So I'm the
No.
Colts here. Interesting spot.
your boy is
Because-
gone. Brock Powers is gone. He's not there no more.
I don't think they wanted Brock Bowers in the first place. I think now I've seen this a lot mocked. I feel like a lot of people mock them to get Teron Arnold or a corner, but I don't think I think there's a guy that fits this offensive scheme perfectly and is exactly what they want to do here.
You're saying
They're
Brian
going to take Brian
Thomas?
Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. I think he fits that scheme perfectly. I don't know why it's not letting me draft him. Okay, there we go.
That's unfortunate because you just took who the Bills wanted.
Yeah, you take who the Bills want, which is interesting. I don't think he was ever going to make it to 28 in the first place. But moving on here, we have the Seahawks and Gabe. Again, the Eagles are making the call. But
I think
the
the
Seahawks,
Eagles can hold off one more. I think we can hold off one more.
I think the Seahawks have
a
clear need here. I think the Seahawks have a clear need here and a pretty home run.
And it doesn't affect the Eagles.
Options.
It doesn't affect the Eagles.
Yeah. They have some options. They have two options here. Obviously, one of them goes to a certain college, and I really like him a lot. But we'll see what Gabe does here. Or he could go out of left field and not pick one of the two
So
guys.
you're on Graham Barton? Is that what you're saying? Because I
mean,
in my mock, I had them.
He literally pulled up the category and is talking about college while hovering over the word Duke. So
yeah,
I think it's pretty obvious what he wants.
But it's your pick, Gabe.
So yeah, I mean, I was between him. I was between Fautanu, Fuaga, Latham. I mean, we'll go with your guy, I guess. I mean, they're all on the offensive line. Take your pick.
Jacksonville.
I could see Seattle trading down, because I feel like there's two really good interior linemen. I think one of them is going to fall to wherever Seattle trades down to. So that's definitely a spot I could see.
There's also some talk about Seattle holding off and seeing if Michael Penix would fall to 16 at quarterback. I saw some talk about that, but I mean, obviously that
is possible.
So I think that's kind of out of the realm of possibility at this point.
I don't know if Seattle's going to want to take one of those mid-tier quarterbacks because they already have a mid-tier quarterback and it's not really working out for them that well. So.
Right.
I think Sam Howell will ride this season out for them.
Yeah.
At least for this season, if they don't like him, they could easily move off him. He's not getting paid that much, so you could easily move off him and draft a quarterback in the following year. Because I think at least by the following year, there might be one or two teams besides the Seahawks. Sorry about that. Seahawks. Looking for a quarterback. There might be one or two other teams. That's about it.
So, Chris, you are the Jags here,
and I'm accepting calls from the Eagles.
Oh, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought the Jags are definitely not trading down because there's a clear pick here, and if they trade down, he's not going to be there anymore.
I'll accept the trade from the Eagles because there's a guy that I still. If I'm Jacksonville, there's a guy I still like that I think I could get at that spot.
All right. So the Jags are trading down here. The Eagles are going to look to trade up with the Jags. They're going to be giving up. So obviously they're going to be giving up 53 and 120. Hopefully this gets accepted because this is a very realistic trade here. There we go. And the Eagles trade
on the board. We're taking our guy.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yes,
I think
sir.
we agree.
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, the best cornerback in the draft, I think Terrion Arnold's going to get picked ahead of him. But I like Quinyon Mitchell better. So there we go. The Eagles trade up and get their corner.
That's a dope
as an Eagles fan, that'd be excellent. But honestly, as Neil and Chris, call me crazy here, but I think the Eagles are going to end up with the tackle. I think that's what's going to happen in the draft. So we'll wait and see. But I don't think the Eagles are going to stay put. I think they're either going to trade up or trade down.
I think this pick right here, whoever has this pick, I think this is an obvious one.
Yeah, the Bengals. Who has the Bengals? That is me. Okay. I think you look at it, and this is a pretty obvious pick, and this is why I don't think the Jaguars should have traded down. But I'm going to go Byron Murphy out of Texas. I think they need interior defensive lineman. I think he's an excellent player.
DJ Reader leaves, you replace him.
Yeah.
Good pick there.
Yeah, you replace him immediately. I think he's an excellent pass rusher. I think he's very underrated. I don't really see why people are saying Johnny Newton is better than him. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Johnny Newton's good, don't get me wrong.
He's good, but Byron Murphy gives you something completely different to the rest of this defensive tackle class, and that's interior pass rush and good run defending. He's just an all-around solid player. But yeah, I just think Byron Murphy is going to be one of the steals of this draft because I think personally he's top 10 talent wise, but I think he's going to fall because this is a really stacked draft at the top. But yeah, I mean, there's still there's pass rushers falling, and the Rams are on the clock, and I think the Rams are really happy with how this board fell, and that's Gabe. So
They are. I mean, I think
this is an obvious pick here too.
part of them were hoping for Terry and Arnold and maybe or Byron Murphy. I have them going Johnny Newton at this point, but you guys don't like that, I'm assuming.
I mean, no, I
your
think
guy is there.
choice.
You're gonna leave him.
Uavatu?
Yeah. Your biggest loss of the offseason, and I couldn't find my jersey or else I would have wore it, was Aaron Donald. I mean, that's a Hall of Fame player.
I mean that.
I'd rather replace him with Latu.
Well, they go Johnny Newton here.
It's a crazy pick.
It's an interesting pick, but it's a Seattle pick. It's a very Seattle pick to not pick the guy that you think they're going to pick. They never.
You mean L.A.?
Or yeah, L.A. L.A. and Seattle both do it. They never pick. I mean, L.A. hasn't had a first round pick in a while, but those two teams have very weird drafts. They never pick the guys you expect them to pick. That's why Graham Barton, a Duke interior 11.
I'm a big fan of this pick from the Steelers that they're about to take,
and
I wish this guy was an Eagle too. There's a lot of prospects that I'm really big on in this draft, and this guy's gonna be an absolute dog. I mean, this dude is a freak athlete. He's fast. He's athletic. He's super strong. You saw what he did during the combine and what he did during his pro workout days. Like, this guy is an insane athlete, and I think you really need to bolster this, especially once your young guy comes in and fulfills your quarterback role. And I think they go Jackson Powers Johnson here. It's a stud pick. It's a stud pick too, because he's gonna be so good. He's gonna be so good.
I feel like the Steelers are gonna look more towards a tackle, but I think Jackson Powers is just amazing. So I don't think they can go wrong either.
I think before you worry about your tackles, you fill the one guy who's gonna be dead in front of your quarterback.
Yeah.
And then you worry about your blind side, and then you can worry about the other side.
So Miami here, they're probably not very happy that they just took Jackson, because that's kind of the guy that Miami has had mocked to them. If I'm Miami here, you have a lot of needs, but I'm gonna make a phone call here, and you're gonna call me criminally insane for this. But the Philadelphia Eagles are making the call. The Philadelphia Eagles are making a call. They're going to be aggressive. They have a lot of picks here, and they're going to trade their second and third round pick. They're going to trade at the full house here to Miami.
That's insane.
It's insane, and it's been rejected. So it's not happening. But the Eagles are going to be active on the phones here. So Miami here.
Wait, before you even make your pick, who are you going to pick with the Eagles at that pick?
Fuaga. I think he's the guy that the Eagles really like. Now, this is an interesting pick for Miami. I think Miami is still going to look to trade down. So I'm going to have Dallas.
Don't trade down. Just fill in the hole that your quarterback's been getting destroyed at, dude. He's been getting concussed like crazy and injured like crazy. If you trade down, you're just telling your quarterback that you don't like him.
Well, I don't think they're going to re-sign him, so I don't think that's the thing there. I think they're going to I feel like Dallas wants to trade up here.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean,
propose a trade then.
Chris, you're the Cowboys. Cowboys need a tackle. So the Dolphins are going to offer the Cowboys. This is what I'm going to offer, okay? Tell me what you think of this. You're going to offer 21 for 24, 87, and maybe like a 6 pick next year.
I would accept that trade.
All right, we'll see. And it's been rejected. Okay, whatever. This is just the system telling me that the Dolphins are going to draft Fuaga.
Careful,
I
Warner
I
does
feel like
not like trades.
Here's a
yeah,
fun pick. Here's a fun
I
pick.
just
So
don't think
remember,
I don't think Miami's going to stick there. I just don't think they are, especially if the board falls that way. I just think they're going to want to trade down and pick up some more assets because they have a lot of holes on that team.
so
But
you
um,
remember Jacksonville traded with the Eagles and moved down, but when we were in that spot, I was like, oh, we could still get our guy,
yeah,
Nate Wiggins, dog.
yeah.
Dog.
Don't think too
Must I
hard. Nate
must I
Wiggins is
say
a great pick.
more? Nate Wiggins is a phenomenal pick, and the dude's a dog. His stock really has been up, and I also have this next pick too. And in my
Do the
opinion,
Chargers trade down again? That's the question. It could
no,
happen.
no.
All right.
I like this pick. I think you help out your quarterback and you build your offensive line more. And I really like Troy Fultano here.
Okay. Out of Washington. Interesting pick. I mean that makes a ton of sense. Those are their two biggest needs. So
To be honest with you, I like Troy Fultano as in like a top 5 offensive lineman. I mean, to be fair, this draft is stacked with offensive linemen, but he's definitely in my top 5.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the Chargers get out of there with their two biggest needs in a skill position and a tackle, and I think this is a great draft for the Chargers. Moving on, Chris, you have the Cowgirls here. I think this is a pretty clear pick. I mean, well, there's a few guys, but I think they have to take a tackle. I think they have to, right? So you have a few options here. I'm
I'm
interested to see
gonna
who you think is the top tackle on the board.
I'm gonna put my bias aside. This guy's gonna hate his career over there. They're gonna take Amarius Mims. He's gonna hate his career in Dallas. He's gonna be like, dude, why am I here? I'd rather be on a team like the Eagles or somewhere else with the rest of my Georgia buddies. But unfortunately,
Hello.
the way the cookie crumbles, you're stuck on Dallas. Unfortunately.
Interesting that these two pass rushers continue to fall in our mock here. I think there's a lot of teams that are very happy about this.
Well, I thought
Who had
Latu would have win already, but
the Packers?
that
That's
is not
me.
my pick.
I'm going to finally try and make an actual trade here. And I think there's a certain team that, although they made a pretty big signing in free agency at the wide receiver position, I think that they still are going to want to get a guy with speed. And I think, this team is in win now mode. This team is in win now mode. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to call Green Bay. I think they're going to make a pretty big offer here. They're going to offer 64 and a fourth. I'm making this trade go through no matter what because I think this is happening. There we go.
There you go.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. The Chiefs
And they're
trade up.
taking who?
Who do you think they're taking? The guy with, I mean,
Hopefully not
they're
number
taking Mitchell.
32 right there. Thank God.
They're taking Mitchell.
Thank God. I think
The guy.
who has Buccaneers?
I do.
Oh, Gabe, you better make this bomb of a pick right now.
I mean, you look at it and you see, everybody thinks they're going to go Worthy because of his speed, but I think they got Hollywood Brown. They got that speed. I think they need another guy that's a little bit better of a route runner. Mitchell, I think fits. I think Xavier Worthy is just too on the nose of a Chiefs pick. So, well, I do think the Chiefs are going to trade up and take one of those two Texas wide receivers. But yeah, we have Tampa on the clock. Gabe, interesting selection here.
Yeah.
But I think Tampa is so happy with the board.
Yeah, I think they've probably been eyeing Jared Verse, not expecting Laiatu Latu to still be there. So I think they're jumping up and down at that site.
Take Latu.
We're taking Latu.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking Latu.
It's a bomb pick.
Right.
That's a bomb pick.
A great pick.
And guess what? Here goes the other guy.
Cardinals took Marvin Harrison Jr. You look at it and you think, okay, they might need to go line here, but I think you just go best player available and take Jared Verse.
I
Um,
agree. I think Jared Verse is a perfect fit on the
I
Cardinals.
think it's a
I
perfect
like
fit. And
that.
then you got the Bills here, and Chris. I mean, I think it's another pretty clear pick here.
Xavier Worthy. Give
Yeah,
me
I mean,
Xavier Worthy.
I think the Bills are just going to take the best wide receiver left on the board, whoever that is.
If I was
Um,
the Bills, I really wanted Brian Thomas because he's
yeah,
the most realistic that they could get out of the other receivers. But I'm more than happy with Xavier Worthy. But in my mock draft, I did have Xavier Worthy going to the Ravens.
all right, Chris, you're up with Detroit here. I think there's kind of a solid fit here. But I'm not going to say who I think it is because we'll see if you take him, and we'll talk about
I'm
it
gonna
afterwards.
take, in my opinion, then this is if the Eagles do not move and Quinyon goes and Tarion Arnold goes and those guys. I think this guy's the most flexible. I think he's the most NFL ready out of any of the prospects. I think he can plug and play in any given system. Cooper DeJean is a phenomenal
Yeah,
pick here.
I
Insane
agree.
athlete.
That's what I was thinking. I think the Lions like that flexibility in their secondary. Also, the Eagles do, but I think the Lions and the Eagles are very similar, where they like
The
guys with that
only
flexibility.
I'll put it this way, the only other guy I could see the Lions taking there is Chad Robinson. That's it.
Yeah, I could also see that as well.
That's it.
But I think Cooper DeJean from Iowa, doesn't have to move that far, and yeah, I just think it's a really solid pick there for the Lions. And then we got Gabe with Baltimore.
Iowa's a whole lot different
Uh,
than Detroit, though. I'll just add that.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're looking to protect Lamar here, and they're going. I think he's the best. Yeah, he's the best available right there, J.C. Latham.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. It's such a Ravens pick to get, take a BPA, but also the best player available happens to be at a position of need. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Classic Ravens getting a great draft pick in the first round, like they always do.
Unfortunately, I got to make this pick too with a team that I absolutely despise.
Wonder
This
why.
this this is disgusting. Actually, Gabe's sitting there laughing because he enjoys it, but this is
I
disgusting.
love this.
I think the
Um,
49ers might be drinking something here.
the 49ers have barely any holes on the entire team, and in my opinion, their only big hole is offensive line. So if you don't take Tyler Guyton here, you're crazy. There's no other way
Interesting.
I can put it. If you don't take Tyler Guyton here, have fun with Brock Purdy getting crushed even more because guess
Yeah,
what? The only good player on your entire offensive line is about 35 years old. So just
that's
remember that.
interesting because I think there's a chance they take Kool-Aid. I
No,
think
no
they
shot.
need corner.
You
I
need
think they need
offensive
corner.
line more than you need corner because my issue here is right. Brock Purdy gets hurt again, right? Then what's gonna happen with your offense? Your offensive scheme's gonna fall. It's already bad enough that Brandon Ayuk really wants out, and the Steelers are emerging as a really big candidate right now for that. So if Brandon Ayuk goes right, just say in a world where Brandon Ayuk gets traded and Brock Purdy gets hurt, then what's going on with your offense? You're just gonna have who was that guy that came in against the Eagles and then he got destroyed too?
I don't even know, but
Do you
yeah.
do you know
No,
I'm
I get
talking?
your
Do you
point.
know who I'm talking about though?
Yeah. I
Imagine
get your
he
point though.
comes in and then what? It's just gonna be him running, handing the ball off to CMC or trying to throw it to Debo or George Kittle, who's also getting up there in age, and then he just gets crushed too, and then you got really nobody left. If you don't take Tyler Guyton here, it's a really bad pick if you don't take an offensive lineman.
Yeah. And then Green Bay here, the last pick of the first round. It's interesting. I think they could get immense value in Chop Robinson, but I feel like they need a corner more than they need a pass rusher. So I'm gonna go Kool-Aid McKinstry here. I just feel like Kool-Aid is gonna be a first round pick. So I'm hedging my bets here.
You like that
This is an
receiver core enough to where they couldn't get one in the second
I
round?
think I think look, I mean you look at Green Bay, and Green Bay is an interesting team here because we had them trade down. So I'm not trading here. I'm just showing everybody what picks they have. Green Bay has 32, 41, 50. They can get a receiver. This is a deep
Yeah.
class.
Okay.
I don't think they need to take one here. I think they're going to take the
Kool-Aid's a good
position
pick.
you look at it. Corner does not have a lot of depth after Kool-Aid. Whereas you look at the offense, you could go tackle, but I think there's a lot more depth. So I'm going to go Kool-Aid.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Last year's draft ended with a corner, right? Wasn't that Joey Porter? Or no, actually, last year's draft was the dude on the Chiefs.
Yeah. But I'm going to go
Alexander or whatever.
And that's going to conclude our draft here. So this is what we came out with. Guys, before we move on here, I just want to, why don't we discuss how we think this went? You know, who do we think is some steals, and who do we think kind of isn't going to work out here for these teams?
Johnny Newton's not going to work. You live a lot too full. That was bad. That was bad that you live a lot too full. Steal, for me, Cooper DeJean, I think is a phenomenal pick. I really like that, where they got him. I think you get really high value. I mean, to be fair, I think the Latu and Jared Verse picks are really valuable too. So those can both be considered steals. I mean, you know, there's other teams like the Chiefs where I think they reached on AD Mitchell. I think you probably could have stayed there and got AD Mitchell, unless if the Bills really wanted him. But then guess what? You still have Xavier Worthy there. So is it really that big of a loss?
Yeah. I mean, Gabe, what do you think before I talk? Because I have a lot to say.
I'm looking at this draft, and I think we got a lot of it. Or I mean, who knows how it's going to turn out? But I think there's going to be so much emphasis on Caleb Williams that people aren't going to look as much as at that second Bears pick in Rome Odunze. And I think that second receiver, or the first receiver of this draft class for them, is going to be a big deal. And I think he has star potential. A lot of people have the Giants actually taking him. I don't think that's going to happen.
What do you have as a bad pick?
As a bad pick? I mean, the obvious answer would be J.J. McCarthy, but I feel like he's almost locked in.
You're a hater, dude.
I'm a hater. I just don't.
Jeez.
I don't like it. I think that when people get that hyped up before the draft, I feel like it either works really well or really poorly. And I think in the case of him and Zach Wilson, I don't know. Well, I mean, Zach Wilson was always the top pick.
He ain't no Zach Wilson.
For J.J. McCarthy, I agree that talent-wise, he's not a top 5 pick. I think most people agree with that. I just think the fit. You look at that Minnesota team; they're a playoff team. They're just missing a quarterback. Same thing with
why don't they go Bo Nix and Michael Penix? You don't like those two from Minnesota?
Because I hate Michael Penix. I was going to talk about that. I think that's a horrible pick for the Raiders. I think it's such a Raiders pick. I think it's a horrible pick.
Pick is bad.
I don't think the Raiders are going to take a quarterback. I think they're going to wait. I mean, look at who they signed. They signed, me and Chris's boy, Chris, our boy, Gardner Minshew. So I just don't think the Raiders are going to take a quarterback. I think they might look to trade down or stand pat and, take another position of need. I don't think I agree with you though. I think the Broncos, again, a really bad drafting team. So I don't like Bo Nix being taken either in the first round, but I think, the Broncos are stuck in a difficult position because they have to take a quarterback here. So they're probably gonna fall in love with Bo Nix. Every report I've read says that Bo Nix is higher on teams' draft boards than Michael Penix. I don't think Michael Penix is gonna be a first round pick. And look, I'm gonna be homer here. I really like Quinyon Mitchell going to the Eagles. I hope it happens. I think they're gonna end up with Fuaga, realistically. But yeah, I think Quinyon Mitchell would be a great pick. I think Byron Murphy is a great pick for the Bengals. I really like Byron Murphy a whole lot. For me, he's my steal of the draft here. Obviously, J.C. Latham, I talked about him. Another great pick there. And I think the Chiefs trading up and getting that wide receiver is going to be a big deal for them. I think everybody's going to have him picking Worthy, but I'm going to go Mitchell. I think Mitchell's the better player. So
to give the fans a bit of insight, right, towards after the first round, who do we like that will probably get picked outside of the first round?
I think your guy Chop Robinson. I'm surprised that he fell.
Yeah, I agree. I think Chop Robinson.
I think
is
Lab McConkey's a good pick. I think Keon Coleman's a good pick. I think there's still a lot of.
I
I
am a
think this is
huge
so
Keon Coleman
underrated.
guy.
I think this is so underrated that there's still a lot of really good guys that you can get in the second round with the way this is set up.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So
download
I
those
have
results so
I
I
have
can
one
post
more
them.
question
But
for you guys that I just thought of. So we're talking about JJ McCarthy going 5 to the Vikings. That trade hasn't happened yet, although nearly every source says it will. Why don't the Vikings and Ben, I think you suggested that the Patriots might be looking to, trade back. Why don't the Vikings go for 3 instead of 5 and go for a top 3 QB? Like
so
what
I
here's
think going for
here's
the
my
third
situation.
overall pick is a lot harder than the fifth overall pick
Here's the only reason why I see the Patriots
because of
trading down
value
here.
wise of who's there.
I was saying as the Patriots, if I were the Patriots, they trade down. I don't think they are, and especially if Drake May is on the board. In my opinion, now Chris, you might disagree with me on this, but I think it's a fact that NFL teams see Drake May as a better player than Jaden Daniels. So I think there's going to be more teams interested in Drake May. If Jaden Daniels is there, I don't think there's going to be as many teams calling. But I think the Vikings, if Drake May is there, I foresee them trying to trade up and trade maybe 3 first-round picks. They have 2 this year. They might trade another one next year. It's happened before. I think the Vikings, all they need is a quarterback. I don't think they care what they have to give up to get that quarterback. If Drake May is there, they're going to do anything they can. I think they're going to be calling Washington. I don't think Washington's going to trade down. But if you're the Patriots and the Vikings offer you 3 first-round picks to trade down, I am taking that in a heartbeat. This Patriots team probably is the worst roster in the league.
I would take that too, but
So
at the same time, at least from my eyes and what I've seen on film, I don't think Drake May is gonna be as good as people think he is. Like truly. Do you
I just think
remember?
there's a
Do
gap
you
between
remember?
him and JJ McCarthy though. I think there's a gap there.
there's a big gap.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Let me put it this way. Do you remember when Tua, right? The game, like I believe it was against the Bengals. The game he got the concussion. Do you recall that game?
Which concussion?
The
bad
first
one?
Which
one.
one?
The first one, I think
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
It was against Cincinnati. He was balling that year. Remember, he was doing really good. He was throwing the really good ball. He was very accurate to Tyreek and Waddle. I think, depending on how it goes, I think that might be the ceiling for Drake May. As good as Tua was that season.
Interesting. I think yeah, I do want
The
to
way
talk
it
about
seems
here.
like to me is people think JJ McCarthy's gonna have a ceiling of friggin' Mike White off the Jets. That's what people were thinking of JJ McCarthy. I mean, in my opinion, I think JJ McCarthy could have a Kirk Cousins type year.
I mean, yeah,
I
no,
believe
that I
it.
mean, yeah,
He's
it's a
gonna have
great
Justin.
comp.
Yeah, exactly. But he's gonna have Justin Jefferson. He's taking the wide receiver that Kirk Cousins had, literally the best wide receiver in the league. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I think he's more than okay over there.
I think whoever goes to Minnesota is going to be a very happy guy.
Dude,
Whoever that is, whatever
he has
quarterback.
TJ Hawkinson too, and he's still
Which is ironic because he's going to Minnesota. But
TJ Hawkinson is still very relatively young, and
Yeah.
he's a stud. He balled out last year. That dude
Yeah.
balled out. And guess what? Do you know who else they have that nobody talks about that had a really underrated year? Who am I going to say, Ben?
On the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I always forget his name. Their wide receiver 2, who stepped up
Jordan
when
Addison.
JJ.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jordan
yeah.
Addison.
Jordan Addison, yeah.
Jordan
Yeah,
Addison
he's a
is
stud.
a beast. Jordan Addison is good.
Forgot about that.
So you have
Yeah.
Jordan Addison, you have
I-
TJ Hawkinson, you have Justin Jefferson. You're more than okay. Who's the running back over there now? Aaron
I don't
Jones.
even.
It's Aaron
Oh
Jones.
yeah, Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, I don't know. That's questionable.
No, Aaron Jones is fine. He's still a good running back. You have a good
Yeah.
offense. You have a
He's an
really
older
good
guy.
offense. Be
One
honest,
team I
that's
wanna
one of
touch
the
on-
best offenses you've seen in a while that a prospect is getting into.
Chris, I told you, I think this Vikings situation is probably the best situation a quarterback can go into in a long time. Outside of
Mhm.
Chicago, also is a great situation. But I'm looking at that division. I don't know who I'm going to pick to win that next year. I think every single team next year in that division is going to be solid. So I'm going to have a lot of work to do in my predictions for next season, which won't come out for a while here on our pod. But I think we'll get to that eventually. And
Now,
I think one team I do want to talk about, Chris. Chris, there's one team I want to talk about here that could trade up a lot more. We don't like talking about them on here, but I think the Dallas Cowboys need a tackle so badly. I don't know if they're going to
they
want to
took
stand pat and
Amarius
wait.
Mims though.
They did, but I don't know if they're going to want to stand pat at that pick. I think they might want to trade up and get a higher level tackle. And you look at it, see, Atlanta at 8 could look to trade down. 12, the Broncos could look to trade down. 13, the Raiders could look to trade down. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for Dallas to trade up. And I'm just telling the fans, and I'm saying this, for my future self as well. Watch out for the Cowboys to trade up. I think there's going to be another trade up. I think the Broncos, the Raiders, or the Falcons, one of those 3 teams is going to trade down. I also think if for some reason Rome Odunze isn't there at 9, I think I could see Chicago trading down as well. I just think one of those teams is going to trade down, and a team like Dallas, obviously we had Philadelphia trade up to 17. I think Philadelphia could trade up even higher. One of those teams could trade up. But yeah, I think watch out for those NFC East teams and the Eagles and the Cowboys. I think they could trade up even more.
And
also, Washington could trade back up into the first round. So there's a lot going on here.
Let me throw one more name out there because I feel like I haven't heard about him at all, really. And okay, he's on the older side, and I mean his position is going downhill in terms of value, and that's Blake Corum. He was a stud in college. Where do you guys see him? Like, what's happening with him right now?
Third round pick.
Blake Corum is not my favorite running back.
I know you're gonna say Trey Benson. I don't want to hear it.
I think the running back out of Texas is the best, and I always forget
Trey
his
Benson
name because is his name Trey Benson? Hold on. Let me pull this up because I don't want to insult anybody here, but okay, here we go. We're gonna go down here to running back. I'm so bad because I've only been really
awful running back class, by the way. If anybody is looking for a running back, this is not your year.
No,
I mean, we didn't have a single running back in the first round, right?
I thought it was Trey Benson was the one who
Jonathan
was at Texas.
Brooks is the only guy I could see coming up to the first round. I don't think Blake Corum is that good. I don't like him that much. He's undersized. He can't really pass catch that well. I think.
Am I seeing this correctly, or do they actually have 5 running backs over Blake Corum? 5.
I don't think I think Will Shipley is better than Blake Corum. I think he gives more flexibility in that offense, whatever takes him.
Blake Corum,
Trey Benson.
Blake Corum is either 1 or 2 for running backs in this class. I'd fine if you say Trey Benson. I really wouldn't. I would really debate Trey Benson even. I think Blake Corum's the best in this class, but if you want to say Trey Benson, go ahead. I'm not really one to argue that.
I'm scrolling on these running backs right here.
He's better than everybody else.
One of these guys is going to end up being really good because that's what happens every year. Somebody gets. Watch out for Ray Davis, by the way. I really like Ray Davis out of Kentucky, but one of these guys. Watch it be Rashid Ali. He's going to be good for some reason. Like, one of these guys is going to be good, even though nobody thinks he's going to be good. Can you go on receiver? Huh?
Can you go on receiver for a reason?
Oh, receiver. Yeah.
There's one guy that I want to get thoughts on. So scroll down a little bit until I see him. There he is. When you're looking through there, who do you think I'm referring to?
Troy Franklin, because I don't know why he's rated 68.
Down more. Keep going.
Luke McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think he's that.
Someone explain to me the hype behind this kid because I do not see it.
Well, the hype behind this kid is here. I'm going to highlight it. There's the hype right there.
Let me put it this way.
Let me tell you.
We played Rice in the regular season this year, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I was watching the game on mute or something because I had no idea he was at Rice. Like I had, and you would think that would be a big selling point of the game, but Yeah,
gonna tell you
I
this.
agree
I
with
like
you.
this guy right here. This
I'm
guy
gonna.
is
I like
super
Troy Franklin.
underrated.
I'm gonna tell
Franklin,
you
he's
this,
super underrated.
Gabe. I don't know if you know this said person, but I know Ben knows Liam Gianelli, and Liam Gianelli has told me before that he believes Luke McCaffrey could go all the way up to the first or second round, and I kind of laughed in his face.
I think it
A
could be a
first
second round
rounder?
pick. Not a first rounder. There's no chance. But a second
A second
rounder.
round pick with all those other receivers there.
Chris, there's some dumb teams in this league. We all know there's some dumb teams
What? How
that are
many
going to be like,
receivers
oh,
were
his
ranked
last name
above
is
him?
McCaffrey. His last name's McCaffrey. He put up really good numbers. If you're just going by the numbers, he put up good numbers in the American, but it's also the American, so I don't know how impressive that is. But yeah, I mean,
How
there's
many
guys,
receivers are ranked above him?
a bunch, a lot. I'm not going to count for you.
At
Also,
least
watch
like
this guy,
20,
Christian
right?
Hayes. This guy is going to be a first round pick. We're not mocking it, but this guy's going to be a first round pick. I already foresee it. It happens every year with guys like him. He's going to be a
I
first round
will
pick.
say though, Adiza Isaac, since he's on the screen right now, is very underrated too. That's a really good pick.
Yeah.
I want to throw one more player. And then we'll close. I'm gonna throw a player at Gabe. So go to linebackers for me.
Ooh, we can just talk linebackers as a whole because I want to talk about it because there's a lot of good steals in this class.
There's one specific linebacker that I'm talking about that I want Gabe to just go on about. No, not that one. You and me could discuss
so
that
good.
one. You and me could discuss him in the 1-2 underneath him. Go down further though.
Overrated
I see
by
it.
the way.
Hopefully.
There you go, right there.
Yes,
Gabe,
sir.
have fun with it. Have fun with it.
First
Gabe.
rounder. First overall. Jordan. Nah. Listen, I said this, I think, on the last podcast where we discussed the draft, is he's one of those guys that, you know, whether you're good at analyzing football or not, you just hear his name so much by the PA announcer in the stadium that he's making tackles. He made a few plays, like I think he got a few picks, a few sacks, a few forced fumbles. He was just all over the defensive side of the football in the American. He was absolutely disgusting, right? And I think we can all agree with that. We all watch the games. I'm so excited to see where he goes. If he goes somewhere, fingers crossed. We're all rooting for the guy, though.
He had a really good combine too. Really good combine.
He's going to be, at worst, he's going to be a great player in special teams.
Right.
At worst.
I mean, you guys watch the game.
Well, the upside is there,
right?
though. The upside is there.
He's going to be a 5th round pick, probably.
I would love the Eagles to take him. I would love the Eagles.
That would be. I can't even lie. That would be really cool.
You know
who took him.
Speaking of the Eagles, you know who I want the Eagles to take? Please take this man.
50th overall. 50th overall. That is the guy. That is the guy.
This guy is
if he's there at 50 overall, Ben, if he's there at 50th overall and they do not take him, I am rioting outside the stadium.
All I'm saying is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is probably the most overrated player in this class. I don't think he's
going
to be that good.
He's not overrated. He's good. He's just a little undersized. And I get it. He gets a lot of hype from his dad. But, I mean, it comes. I mean, it makes sense, you know. Yeah. There was a lot of hype.
Edgerrin Cooper is by far and away the best, like, true linebacker in this class.
Peyton Wilson's very good, though, too. I got to give him
Peyton Wilson is good, too. But Edgerrin Cooper is by far my favorite.
Before we wrap this up, though, before we wrap up the linebacker talk, back to Jordan Magee for 1 second. I don't know if you guys remember this at the beginning of not last season, but the season before that, when before we had the defensive coordinator that I think left to go to the Eagles, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
we had one of the best defenses in the country, and Jordan Magee was at the forefront. He was just absolutely disgusting. I'm really hoping that we can see him. I mean, like, I can't even lie. I'm a massive Giants fan. You guys all know that. But if we saw him in Philly, that would be pretty cool. And I'm hoping that we see his name get called.
Ben, about Trotter, though, it's the name that plays a big role behind it. Like, for example, you know John Runyon Jr. He just signed with the Giants.
Yeah. My
dad saw the signing. He's like, what? He's like, your dad was a longtime Eagle. What are you doing signing with the Giants? What's wrong with you? I was like, I get it, that is the name, but they're not always good. I mean, I hate to take shots here, especially at this guy, because he just had a good game. But, I mean, Roger Clemens, it doesn't add up. It doesn't work every time.
Before we wrap up the draft talk, I do want to talk about the safety, a safety I like. We didn't talk about safeties that
Cameron
much.
Kinchins?
Yeah. I think, well, I don't know if you agree. Some people are saying
He's
he's
good.
overrated. I think he's really good. I
He's a
really
second.
like
He's a
Cameron
second round
Kitchens.
pick. He's a second
He's
round
a second
pick, in
round
my
pick,
opinion.
and I think the value. This is going to be one of the most valuable draft positions in the draft
Yeah.
because there's not a top guy, but there's a bunch of guys that are second, third round grades that are gonna play well in their first season. But yeah,
There's
I
one thing
think
that he did though that nobody else could do on that list, and that's shut down EJ Warner.
yeah, he did shut down EJ Warner. But yeah, I would have loved to do a 3-round mock because there's a lot of guys that I know about that I really like, but we don't have time for that. There's no time for that.
If you
I'm
want
gonna go
to know
back
the
to
actual,
this screen.
if you want to know the actual predictions come draft day, you want to hear that all, like I said when the show first started, WHIP radio or at iHeartRadio. It's in my Instagram bio. I'm gonna try and get it in the bio of the YouTube. The draft shows Thursday and Friday. We'll be doing the first round, second round, and the third round, hosted by Tyler Blankenship and Liam Gianelli. It's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a really good time.
Plug what picks you guys are doing again one more time.
I have 16 through 18 in the first round, which is Seahawks, Cincinnati, and Jacksonville. And I know in the second round, I have the Eagles pick and like 2 other picks. So there's a good chance that I could wind up doing both Eagles picks if the Eagles trade up with Cincinnati, Seattle, or Jacksonville, which looks likely.
I'm not going to be there on day 2 and day 3, or day 2, I guess. I guess are we doing day 2 and day 3 on there?
Yeah, day 2 and day 3 is together. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not available for that.
Damn.
But I'm gonna be there 10 through 13. I think is a great spot to be for me. I'm really curious to see about some trades. I obviously think
what time does the draft start on Friday?
Let me look. I think it's like 8.
Uh-oh.
I'll pull that up for our viewers so that they know. Hold on.
That's actually bad. I thought it was early.
Yeah.
Guess what? Guess what, then, Ben? I'm gonna have to forfeit my Eagles pick. I'm not gonna be able to go. Well, guess what? It doesn't even matter at this point. Day 2.
On Thursday it starts at 8. On Friday it starts at 7. Saturday it's 12. So,
dude, I thought it was starting at like 5 because I was gonna go and do the Eagles pick and stuff. Well, guess what? That's not gonna work anymore because I have a party on Friday. So I'm gonna have to text Liam now that I just know now. Great. I begged him for an Eagles pick. He finally gives me an Eagles pick, and I'm gonna have to forfeit
it. Well, they might trade it, so
that sounds like my life, though. That sounds like my life.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to do players? What do we want to do here before we wrap up the show? Players of the week, I guess.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, start
it.
Start it.
Don't give me that power.
Gabe, you go first. You seem like you're ready.
I'm going to the guy that almost went to Temple, that almost transferred to Temple, Villanova alum, and that's Dante DiVincenzo. Absolutely. You gave me the power, and I had to take it.
I can't hear you. My headset's off. My headset is off. I cannot hear you at all.
That's perfectly fine. I know Ben's tuned in right now. You had an inbounds pass to Tyrese Maxey who bobbled the ball and then fell on the floor.
There was a foul, and he called the timeout. Oh, my God.
What a pass to Dante DiVincenzo. The refs were not looking. There was no point in calling timeout. You didn't even have possession of the ball. The inbounds pass to Dante DiVincenzo breaks the first 3.
I'm going to break this up right now.
I've had enough of Chris Bosh out to Ray Allen.
I've had enough of this.
Isaiah Hartenstein right back out to Dante DiVincenzo. Deep 3 connects.
Guess what? You know what happened? You know what happened last night, Gabe? You know what happened? There's a press conference, right? Yeah? And guess what? You know what happened in that press conference? This dude said, can't believe this. This is awful. The refs are awful. I saw what they did in the Sixers game. This is horrible. You know who said that?
The GOAT. GOAT.
Listen, not the GOAT, but do you know who said that?
Who was that?
The GOAT.
The new guy who I'm predicting this very moment. You heard it here. This is also my player of the week. He's coming to Philly next year. And then New York, the Knickerbockers, who haven't been good since the 1970s, and I don't want to hear it because I saw a great comment earlier that you guys both pointed out. Cicada, Yeah, we haven't heard you in like 17 years, and now you want to come back and make all this noise. Yeah, get out of here.
Well, that's fair. I'm
The
just a
last
Sixers
time you were
hater.
actually good was with Ewing, so I really don't want to hear it because Carmelo Anthony had no help. Your debatably best player in your entire history is Dave DeBusschere, who's about 90 years old at this point. So I really don't want to hear anything about the New York Knicks. But this guy is literally coming to Philly next year, and when he comes to Philly, I'd love to see any team, especially the Knicks, have the audacity to try
It's
and
PG?
fight against us. No, it's not PG, but I'd love to watch them have the
GOAT.
audacity to fight against us because him and Embiid can combine for 200 points just off of free throws alone, and that's LeBron James, and he will trash. He will trash New York. Trash. He owns New York. He owns New York, and he owns OG Anunoby already because of LeBronto. So
My
have fun with
glorious
that.
king is not wearing a Philadelphia 76ers
Yeah,
jersey.
okay.
That is for
Yeah,
sure.
okay.
You are
He
my
is wearing a
sunshine.
Philadelphia 76ers jersey.
You know what the funny thing is? If he came to Philly, I guarantee you the Sixers fans would chant, "You are my sunshine." You know that like meme where it's like
Yeah.
edited
Oh,
in?
yeah,
I
of
guarantee
course.
you we would actually
And
chant
guess what?
that.
Guess what? You know what's going to happen, Ben? He's going to come here, right? They're going to win a championship first year with him. He's going to win a championship in Philadelphia. He's going to get
Does that
and beat
mean
his
you're
ring.
drafting Bronny?
With it
Him and
with his
Maxey.
son.
Yes.
at 16,
yes.
we're drafting Bronny.
Him and Maxey and Embiid are going to win championship together, right? He's going to get his money because he's going to get the money that they were giving to Tobias, and it's going to go to him now. And guess what? He's literally going to win one championship and play with Bronny for 1 year, and he's going to be done. He's going to retire. He's going to retire off of a championship. He's going to go out the right way. And I'm not kidding with you when I say just because of that one season and him winning a championship with us, and it hasn't happened in how long, his banner is going to be up in the rafters with Joel Embiid. Watch it. I'm not kidding. Watch it.
Quick prediction. If this nightmare of a dream that you have were to ever become true, Daryl Morey would sign him to like a 4-year, like $400 million contract and find a way to like try to get LeBron out of it. And LeBron would oust Daryl Morey to everybody in the world. And Daryl Morey would have to like live in a cave the rest of his life.
I would love that.
My prediction is LeBron retires after 1 year and becomes head coach. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, Ben, who's your player of the week? Since Gabe's player of the week is actually disgusting and awful.
Look, before I get to my player of the week, I do want to touch on the Knicks Sixers series because we didn't get to talk about it on the show. I think the Sixers and Six still. Look.
Player of the week,
The
save
Knicks
it for
won
the
their
next show. Save it for the next show.
Okay.
Player of the week.
The Knicks won their 2 games they're supposed to win. Who's my player of the week? I'm gonna go Ranger Suarez. He's had the longest streak in Philly's history without giving up a run since who was it? Cliff Lee, I think it was. This Phillies team, the rest of the MLB should watch out. I mean, Ranger Suarez right now is in the not the better favorite, but should be the better favorite for NL Cy Young. He's been the best pitcher in the NL so far. This Phillies team is known to getting off to slow starts and then having great summer months. They're off to a hot start, and it's not even the summer yet. They're 1 game behind the Braves right now. Obviously, the standings don't really matter at this point in the season, but you look at it. If I'm any team playing this Phillies team right now, I'm super scared. And you look at it, their best player, Bryce Harper, went on paternity leave. Congratulations to him on and Cody Clemens came up.
Why are you so wrong right now?
Huh?
That's not our best player.
Well, Trae Young's been playing.
Trae Young.
Trae
Turner's not the
Oh,
best
yeah.
player either.
What?
Trey Turner's not the best player either. You're forgetting my king,
Are you gonna
Spencer
say Brandon
Turnbull.
Marsh?
Spencer Turnbull.
He's not even our best pitcher of the season, but go on.
He's pitching like it, is he not?
Ranger
He's been
Suarez
going
is pitching like our
7.
best
He's
pitcher,
been
but
going sevens without like
Don't worry.
maybe like one run.
I was at. All I'm
Disgusting.
gonna say is, me and Chris were at that game, that last Spencer Turnbull
Gross.
start. Yeah, he was disgusting. But also, he's playing against like a double-A team.
So let everyone know I will be coming to our podcast soon with 2 new jerseys. Hopefully, I'm gonna buy a Spencer Turnbull jersey and a Nicholas Batum jersey.
Batum?
Nico.
Hey, he did carry us against the Heat, so
Nico game.
Yo, it was the Batum game. I'm gonna remember that forever. I mean, he cooked.
Anything else you got to say on Ranger, or is that it?
No, I mean, just watch out. Ranger is right now. I'm not gonna change it from Zach Wheeler. I still think Zach Wheeler is gonna win it, but watch out for Ranger. And this Phillies rotation is the best in baseball, hands down. Not even
Watch out
close.
for that team from Queens too. Heard they're
It's a
pretty good.
valid
Right now.
statement.
They're
That is a
playing. They're
valid
playing
statement.
well. They're playing
Yeah.
well, but they're gonna fall off like they do every year. They always start off high.
Okay.
That is indeed a valid statement, but that'll be it for this week's show. Coming up next week, we'll be talking some more NHL playoffs. Stop with the balloons. Some more NBA playoffs, you know. We'll have our NBA aftermath and all our NFL aftermath after the draft and stuff. So it's gonna be a really nice show. But that'll be it. So stay hyped, stay hungry, keep the frenzy alive, and we'll see you on the next one.